Salam alaikum, buenos dias. Peace and blessings be to all. Hope you guys are doing great. Same old guys. You know how it is. Doing my deliveries like usual. I had a question there. Somebody asked me if I could explain the difference from Ozain and Ngurufinda. Ozain will be something that you hear in Ocha, you hear in Ifa, but in Palo you won't hear Ozain. The word you will hear, one of the major names that a lot of Palo practitioners know or call this Nkisi is Ngurufinda or Ngurufinda, but it has many names for others. I know about 3 more names, but I'm not even gonna get into that because majority of the people know it as Ngurufinda or Ngurufinda. As we look at, right, because the question was, what's the difference, between Ngurufinda and Ozain? When you look at Ozain and you look at Ngurufinda for what it is and for what it represents and the energy that it represents itself as, is the master of, we'll say, nature, of all the herbal properties of everything in nature, all the minerals. Ngurufinda, without Ngurufinda, there's no world. Ngurufinda, it consists of a lot of things, just not being a master herbalist. But one of its main, how can I say, its main expertise, or where he shines, and I say he as masculine, but that's just me saying it in that way to put some power and emphasis on it. And Ngurufinda, like I said, without herbs, without minerals, this planet would not exist. So Ngurufinda consists of this whole planet, if you want to look at it, this whole planet. Ngurufinda is known to be something that you don't play around with. Same thing like Ozain. Ozain is a master herbalist, and that form. But you have to also remember that there are different Ozains. Not that they're different, but that you have an Ozain that you would see in a guira, or in a higuera, or in an icara, hanging, and you gotta be careful because you might mistake it with a cuatro viento, because some people have something similar in that, made in that similar in a guido that looks like it's in Ngurufinda, but it's not. It's a cuatro viento. Ozain is a master herbalist in the Ocha Ifa tradition, and Ozain, like I was saying, a lot of the times they are in a guida. When you look at it, it looks like a guida or a guido. When I say guida, for those who speak English and don't know what I mean, that the Latinos, the maracas, the Latinos use the ball that it has with the stick. Well, that ball, let's say a guida. Sometimes it looks like a guard. Anyway, Ozain also is represented in a statue, as a statue form, not in a guida. You understand? And in Kisimalongo, Ozain, or we're gonna say Ngurufinda, hangs. A lot of people have them hanging on top of the Nkisis, above, up in the air, kind of like representing a watcher, watching everything. And also he's a master herbalist, a master witch, Very, very important in Kisi to have. Very strong in Kisi. Not to be fooled around with. You got to remember that everything that we do in Palo, everything that is done in Ocha, well, let's look at it from this sense, has a lot to do with herbs. So since it has a lot to do with herbs, then who you think we are using? Well, we are using the master herbalist, which is Ozain and Ocha and Ngurufinda and Palo. In my Rama, we don't have Ozain hanging up in the air, in a guida. We don't have that. We don't, our tree is not in that form. The way we understand it, the way we use Ngurufinda, it's a little more, I don't want to say serious, because the other people that also have, they know it's a serious in Kisi to have. Hold on for 1 second. But it's different the way we do it. It's different. I'm gonna give you just this of how our Ngurufindas, what we do with them. Our Ngurufindas live in the country, in the woods, and it doesn't hang from a tree. And our Ngurufindas, we don't mess with our Ngurufindas unless it's for dire need. Remember, not only is Ngurufinda the master healer, but he's also, if you want to say, a master witch. Because if you understand the tradition, you will know that we use a lot of herbs, that we use a lot of things of nature to heal, to decompose, and to manipulate things to our benefit, and so on. And when you look at all those herbs, all those minerals, all those rocks, everything, you notice that it's from the earth. And Ngurufinda is the one who is the manipulator, the one who is in charge, let's say, of all that. You know, so we are very careful with Ngurufinda, because the same way Ngurufinda could heal and bring you prosperity and everything, the same way Ngurufinda could destroy you. Because anyone that knows how to do a certain type of witchcraft or bilongo and is proficient at it and knows what they're doing, you know, they have the capability to manipulate certain things. So imagine Ngurufinda, who is the master of all that. Like I said, without Ngurufinda, this world wouldn't exist. That's how powerful and how important Ngurufinda is. So you see the similitude in Ozain, whether it be Ozain the Ocha style, whether it be Ozain the Ifa style, a statue or a guard or a guida or something like that. You will see that representation in someone, and in a lot of Munanzas, you see them hanging up in the air on top of the Nkisis, like I said, almost like a watcher. But at the same time, since you are in that Munanzo, and in that Munanzo you do so many things, initiations, you do works for people, readings, you know, different type of things for people, then you have in Ngurufinda, they're not only watching, but as the master herbalist for everything that you do in that room. Because in Ngurufinda, let's say, it's the owner, you know, it's the one that is actually giving you its power in order for you to do what you want to do using all these minerals, all these vegetation and so forth and so on. I'm sorry guys, it's early in the morning. some of these stops are close by. Amén, amén. So, you're gonna see a similitude in Ifa and Ocha and Palo with that certain Nkisi. You gotta remember, for us as an Nkisi, for them is what it is for them. I don't want to sound like their Ozain is less than ours, but at the same time, I have to be honest. The purpose that it has, as far as curative, as far as being a master witch, as far as a watcher, as far as everything that I spoke about, is there. But in Palo, you have to understand that we materialize ourselves we will materialize our Nkisi so much that they perform and they work at a great magnitude. You understand? So we do not mix Ngurufinda with Ozain, because we understand that, yes, in one instance we know what it consists of, and that Ocha uses it with those properties, with that understanding. For Ngurufinda, for us, is something very strong, in a level that, you know, it's hard for me to explain, because I don't want anyone to feel that I'm trying to denigrate Ozain, which I'm not. It's just that if you notice the difference within Ocha and Palo, you could see the difference, and how the way Palo moves things. I'm looking for somebody here. It's like it's like you could have two Nkisis, right? Let's say you got two Sarabandas, right? Both of them are Sarabandas, but remember, they have different Enfuma, they have different muertos, so they have different personalities. But you have a Sarabanda that's built with certain things that give that spirit in there more power, more amplitude, and the other one has less. It's not that the Nkisi is less, it's that you materialize one more than the other. So you gave one certain elements of nature and power that the other one doesn't have. So it's not that that one is not going to work. It's just that this one is either going to work faster or it's going to be stronger in that sense. That's what I'm trying to say, guys. One second. Another thing is that you will hear in Nkisi Malongo is that no woman in her menstrual should be standing under a Ngurufinda. Well, if the Nkisis are there and the Ngurufinda is hanging over the Nkisis, well, no woman should be standing in front of the Nkisis anyway, you know? So you have to be very careful with that. Your daughters and stuff like that, do not let them get close to the Nkisis when they're on their menses, you know, and goddaughters and so on. Even though this is something very practical, this is something that a lot of people understand and know already. Some follow it, some don't follow it. Like I said, to each his own, to each his own school of thought and how they're taught, and what do they have as far as what do they understand of this Nkisi or any other Nkisi. we have to respect that, and that's it. But you will hear that in Ngurufinda, women and the menses should not be under it, just in case it's not over the inquisis and they have it in a corner somewhere high up, that you're not under there with your menses. That's, you know, that's just like a precautionous thing that you would, you know, follow, in other words. Other than that, it's a lot of Ngurufinda is a lot, but for us, Ngurufinda, the trees that we have for Ngurufinda are very unique, and it doesn't even look like any Ngurufinda that you see hanging up in Munanzos. Ngurufindas do not look like that. They're not like that. Just by me telling you that Ngurufindas are outdoors, not indoors in the woods, just shows you the difference from one Hama to another. I can't speak too much about it, but I gave you the similitude and the understanding to the best of my ability. Do your research, do your homework, learn from your padrinos, ask around to see, and little by little, you guys will understand. And remember, Ngurufinda, there's a muerto in there. There's actually a muerto, a spirit inside there, manipulating everything that Ngurufinda gives us. Salam alaikum, alaikum salam. Be safe.